I bet you recognize this flag. It's the United Nations, a symbol of global unity since 1947. But what if I told you that for the first 2 years of its existence, the most powerful international body in history might have had a completely different flag, one that almost no one remembers today? This red and white banner was flown at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. It was flown at Major League Baseball games, and for a brief moment in history, it was considered by many to be the visual representation of the United Nations. But today, it's a ghost, a historical footnote. So, what happened? Was this the real first flag of the UN? And if so, why was it erased from our collective memory? This is the story of a flag, a determined dreamer, and a mystery that's been hiding in plain sight for nearly 80 years. My obsession with this flag started, as many good obsessions do, in a library. I stumbled upon a book published in 1948 called The World Flag Encyclopedia. But here's the thing, it wasn't an encyclopedia of world flags. It was a book dedicated entirely to one flag. This one, the United Nations Honor Flag. The book presented a compelling, almost cinematic origin story. It begins with President Franklin D. Roosevelt and his famous Four Freedoms speech in 1941. Freedom of speech, worship from want and from fear. After Pearl Harbor, the fight for these freedoms became America's stated war aim. And when 26 nations signed the Declaration by United Nations in 1942, they weren't founding the organization we know today. They were naming the Allies. That's right, the Allied powers of World War II were officially called the United Nations. This brings us to our protagonist, a novelty furniture maker from upstate New York named Brooks Harding. Now, novelty furniture is a mystery for another day, but Harding saw a problem. Roosevelt encouraged citizens to fly the flags of the Allied nations to show support, but there were dozens of them. It was impracticable. So, Harding designed a single flag to represent them all. He took his designs to the State Department, and according to his book, an official essentially told him, "Great idea. No one here is in charge of that. Why don't you run with it?" And he did. He went from embassy to embassy in Washington, shopping his design. The story goes that at the Czechoslovakian embassy, a diplomat folded one of his prototypes, leaving only the corner visible, the 4 red stripes on a white field, and declared, "There, Mr. Harding, is your flag." And just like that, the United Nations Honor Flag was born. It was announced to the world in an AP story in 1942. A committee was formed. It was raised at ceremonies. The book paints a picture of a global movement. It shows the flag being embraced by the British, the Free French. It shows it displayed everywhere during the founding conference of the official United Nations in San Francisco in 1945. It even features a photo that, at first glance, is incredibly powerful. Here are planes being prepared for the Normandy invasion, with stripes on the fuselage. The book implies these are the 4 freedom stripes of the honor flag. It looked like proof that this flag was part of the very fabric of the war effort, and that's where the mystery deepened for me as a kid. How could something so seemingly important just disappear? But reading this book again, decades later, with a more skeptical eye, I started to see a different story. A story not of a global movement, but of one man's relentless and ultimately tragic quest for recognition. Let's look at those invasion stripes again. If you count them, they aren't 4 stripes, they're 5. They were actually invasion stripes, a black and white identifier painted on Allied planes to prevent friendly fire. It had nothing to do with FDR's 4 freedoms. Brooks Harding saw what he wanted to see, and those 4 pillars at the UN conference in San Francisco, they were golden columns that were part of the Opera House's permanent decor. The resemblance to his flags for red stripes in black and white photos was likely a coincidence Harding was happy to capitalize on. The more you read, the more you realize this book is less a history and more of a very elaborate scrapbook of wishful thinking. There are entries like, a Polish official reports the flag has been used in Poland. Vague. Flags were shipped to Beirut, but there is no information as to their use. Non-committal. But the most telling entry is this one. Upon request, the honor flag was delivered to the White House and was returned with a note stating that the president had seen the flag. No comment was requested and none was made. Can you feel the heartbreak in that? He sent a flag to the White House. They sent it back with a polite thanks, but no thanks. Harding wasn't leading a movement. He was a man mailing flags to anyone who would take one, hoping for validation. By 1947, it was clear the new United Nations organization needed an official symbol. The world was moving from wartime unity to the complexities of the Cold War. The UN wanted something neutral, something bureaucratic, something that looked less like a personal crusade and more like an international institution. They adopted the flag we know today, a polar azimuthal projection of the world, surrounded by olive branches. It was designed to represent the entire planet, not just the wartime allies. In his book, Harding tries to spin this. He says the UN needed a second flag of authority for its unpopular work, while his honor flag would remain the people's flag of peace and goodwill. But that was just a story he told himself to make sense of the rejection. The truth is, no one at the UN was paying attention to Brooks Harding or his committee. His design was never in the running. He even proposed a compromise design in 1947, a mashup of his stripes and the UN emblem, but it was ignored. Harding died in 1959 and is buried in Arlington Cemetery. Looking at this book now, I think it was his life's work. And I suspect the only reason you can find copies in libraries today is because when no one bought it, he mailed them out himself, hoping to plant his flag in history. So, was this the lost flag of the United Nations? Yes and no. It was never an official flag. But for a brief, shining moment, it was an unofficial symbol of hope. It was the flag of a group of people in Washington who wanted to believe in a unified, peaceful world before the Cold War made that belief seem naive. Brooks Harding wasn't a con man. He was a dreamer who got a little too close to the machinery of history. He managed to get his flag on a flagpole at a baseball game, and for a few years, he tricked the world, and maybe himself, into thinking it mattered. So, what do you think? Is this a flag that deserves to be resurrected as a symbol of global unity? Or is it rightfully a forgotten artifact of a bygone era? Avia put a link in the description to the digital archive of this book so you can dig into the mystery yourself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm Rana Asif, and this has been a deep dive. Thanks for watching.